Welcome to Building a Farm, where I make the mistakes so you don't have to. And we're about to get ready to look at our building site. Obviously, when we commit to this, we'd potentially make some big mistakes. And what I'm trying to do here with the drone is get some idea of what the view might look at different heights, depending on where the house is placed on the slope. So we're starting to prepare to bring in a surveyor and finalize house plans, etc. And the question was, well, what's the view past all these trees? So I am a Part 107 FAA certified drone pilot. I got my drone pilot license basically just to continue to learn things. And what I'm doing is just kind of flying along here. At this one, I'm literally flying about 10 feet off the ground, just back and forth, facing due south, which is the orientation of the house, and then going up a few feet, and I'm going to fly back the other way. Just trying to get an idea of how many more feet up do you need to go to get a better view. And then also get some idea via the view of the camera, what if we cut down some of those trees? Now, if you've seen some of the previous videos, the trees that are right in front of us here, some of those are where the septic field is. So we can stump cut them down, we just can't rip the roots out, which would be fine. And you can start to see as we get up, this is probably approaching 20 feet in the air, 25 feet in the air from the rear of the house. We can start to see the ridge on the other side. Now, our county has a height limit for residential homes of 35 feet. If you want to go higher than that, you have to get a building code exception. We might be able to do something like that. So during my flights, I kept the height to a maximum of 20 meters, which is about 66 feet. So we did go over, how high we would build. So I'm really going to have to balance the view here with how many trees would we have to remove versus how much farther up the slope can we move the house. And the way the ridge line and slopes are of this house site and gullies coming down from the top of the ridge, we are limited to how far we can move up the ridge without doing some significant earth movement to redirect water and things like that. So would it be impossible for us to move farther up the ridge so that we wouldn't need to remove any trees and see over this? Yes, it's technically possible, but probably not very practical. So we're going to really try and just balance where we're at, and this drone flight is just trying to help us kind of judge that. I had hoped that the drone would capture what my elevations were while I was flying on the screen, but it didn't. So I probably will have to redo this to get a better perspective, but I thought I would share it just to get an idea. When you're in these mountains, the Smoky Mountains, it really, a few feet can make a significant difference in what your view is. And, kind of my assessment from going through this is if we move the house site another 5 to 10 feet up the hill, which gains us about 5 to 6 feet in elevation, we maximize each story height so that the deck is as high as possible, and then remove like the first 10 or 15 feet of trees that go into the septic field, which then, you know, the septic field drops 10, 15 feet easily. You take those first row or two of trees out of there and you've really cleared probably 20 feet of visibility problems. So as I kind of reach the end of the house site here, I'm gonna move the drone up another 2 meters, and you can just see that, you know, by moving it about 6 to 8 feet up, all of a sudden the far ridge line starts to appear significantly more. So the hard part is really judging the trees out over the septic field and further. How many of those are in the way versus not? I'm colorblind, so for me the greens do make it a bit of a challenge to distinguish between trees and which trees are farther away. So I think some additional flights are going to be needed over the trees, kind of looking down to try and judge the height of the canopy and how far would we actually need to clear to actually be able to see that far ridge line from the house. And we need to debate, is it even worth it? Maybe just being isolated so nobody who is living on that far ridge line can see us, because I have not done this at dusk. Maybe I would find out there's 10 houses on that side, and I don't want to see their, you know, their lights and everything off their porch all night long. So that ridge is probably about a mile away, but you know, maybe it's better to just see my own green trees versus ridge line where there's 5 houses over there showing lights and things like that. I think there is a house in the center. I can't tell. I'll zoom it in. Let's see. Yeah, even at 3 times magnification, this camera is just not that good. So it is not really picking up what that is. It sort of looks like it could be a house, but I guess I'll have to do a dusk flight with the lights on and stuff, the safety lights on the drone, to see if I can see any house lights over there. Future project. I just don't have the energy to work that late at night at the moment. Should be maximum flight height, if I did this correctly, of about 20 meters or about 66 feet high. And you know, clearly it's a nice view looking into the trees, seeing not only my own forest but part of the neighbors that runs along the mine before it goes to the ridge across the valley. So certainly a very nice view. I'm sure in the fall when the leaves start to change, late October, November for this part of Tennessee, it'll be quite the spectacular view. It didn't look that hazy to my eye when I was driving around. I think you know, I would need some filters or something to make this look more normal. That far ridge looked a little more normal, but again, that's for another day. This is really just trying to assess, what do we want to do about the build? Do we want to make it a little taller? Do we want to try and take out some trees to maximize the view? How far down the slope do some of these other trees, you know, peel away? And the camera's kind of misleading, but it does look like if I took the first 10 to 15 feet away from the septic tank, we'd have a significant, you know, the septic field, take the trees that are heading into the septic field, since that's downhill, really would change the view significantly. So that might be worth some effort. It's not required for the house build, but might be worth taken a few out, or maybe just a narrow lane just to confirm the view from a particular height. Like we can climb on a ladder, or again, use the drone and go up, let's say 25 feet from what we believe the foundation line would be for the first floor, and see what it looks like. So I was starting to run out of battery, and I thought, oh, I should look at what does it even look like behind us. And this is up the ridge, and obviously very thick, dense, mixed forest. So going off that way, you're not going to see much off the back porch facing up the ridge. Just dense forest like all the rest of the forest. And since it's uphill, you really won't see very far at all. So as I start to use up the battery, I'm just going to come down a few feet, do a rotation, try and control it slow so I don't get motion sickness when I'm looking at this. But just, come down a few feet, rotate, come down a few feet, rotate, come down a few feet, and rotate. And basically the trees you're seeing up the ridge, I do still need to remove about 10 to 15 feet more trees going up the ridge. I didn't clear enough of the lot in that direction so that if there were a storm, if any of these trees blew down, that they wouldn't hit the house. So this view up the hill will change slightly in that there'll be more trees removed, but obviously since it's going uphill, it isn't going to make that big of a difference. So I'm just going to continue to drop down a little bit, circle around, drop down a little bit, circle around. And I tried to keep it basically even, meaning I drop maybe 1 meter, turn it around, 1 meter, turn it around, drop 2 meters, turn it around. Again, in the hopes that I would have flight data to compare it to, but this drone doesn't do that. Clearly, you can tell by once you can start to see the ground, you're not very high in the air anymore. Now this is the second flight, and with this one I thought, you know, I should get some better images of the house building site. Now I've got a couple of pine trees. These two pine trees, spindly pine trees, I still need to cut down. I've got a few stumps to remove, but I'm very close to being done on the downhill excavation. As I mentioned previously, I've got, downhill lot clearing. No excavation has been done. I still have a few pine trees to remove here and there, and then I have that 10 or 15 feet uphill that I need to remove. So those two pine trees need to go, and there's one more pine tree over here to the right that needs to go, and then I think I've got one poplar that's kind of sitting in the middle of the house lot still, that needs to go. Yeah, there it is right there. That one needs to go. So that's, you know, I'm clearing out the house lot so that we have a good 50 to 60 feet I'm looking to clear all the way around the house site. So more excavating will come in the future, but for now I really just put paths going laterally across the hill to keep erosion in check. So it's hard to tell always when you're taking pictures, and definitely from the air it almost looks like that's flat, but that is a fairly steep slope, and I just terraced it across to keep erosion under control. And these trees that we're looking at right there, that's where the septic field is, and that little clearing off to the right of the picture right here, that's where the septic tank is. So in that bottom right hand corner is kind of where the septic tank is and feeds out to the leach field. You can see our previous videos on that. This big pine tree to the left needs to go. This is going to be the driveway. So the driveway is going kind of up the middle of the screen. So that's facing downhill. You drive down, go around these group of trees to the right, and that's our driveway. So it looks beautiful, doesn't it? I can't wait to live there, but boy, a lot of work to go yet. This is overlooking the septic field, and really the lanes are kind of invisible. You know, when you're down on foot, it actually looked like a ton of trees were removed, and really, you know, they cleared it out, but the branches already started to fill out, and it's in complete shade. So if you walk the septic field, you're in total shade. So it really didn't remove as many trees as I thought. Basically, the septic field lines run parallel to the long length here that we're looking at. So they go from the bottom left-hand side to the top left-hand side. They'd run across there. So really didn't remove that many trees. Now, for this flight, I did go higher. I did go to about 30 meters. So to get a much wider view of the house lot, just to see how far we're doing. And you can kind of tell the terracing here for erosion control. But the fact that the septic field knocked down a bunch of trees, little trees here and there to weave its way through that forest really doesn't show at all, which I thought was quite surprising. It's nice lot though. I'm looking forward to building here. So some more view of the septic field. Really doesn't impact the forest at all. Really is pretty wide lanes there for the septic, and it really doesn't show up. So I hope you enjoyed seeing some of this. I am not going to narrate anymore after this. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And this will just give you a view of the forest all the way to the end. There's a few more minutes. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned for some more construction and more forestry work as we continue to prepare for our house build.